Hey everyone, I hope you guys had a great week. This week for division, we're just going to work on some division problems. So none of these are going to have remainders, but I wanted to show you how to use a multiplication chart, which I have here, to solve your division problems. So there are 20 problems that we're going to work on today. So the first one is 312 divided by 6. So 6 can't go into 3. So we have to figure out how many times 6 can go into 31 without going over. So the way we're going to use a multiplication chart is we're going to go to our 6 times table. It doesn't matter if you go across or if you go down, you'll still get the same answer. So we need to find what number goes into 6 without going over 30 the most times. So 30 is as close as we can get to 31. And 6 times, if we go up here, we'll see 6 times 5 is 30. So when we go back to our page, we'll put a 5 above this 1 because 5 times 6 is 30, and that's as high as we can go without going over 31. So then we subtract. So we have 31 minus 30, which is 1. And we bring down our 2. I'm going to try and make an arrow. Okay. So we bring down our 2, and that gives us 12. So our new number that we have to solve for is 12. So how many times can 6 go into 12 without going over? So we go back over here to our 6 times table and we look and we see that, oh, 6 goes into 12 2 times. So when we go back up here, we put our 2 up here, and 2 times 6 is 12. So we have a remainder of 0. It goes in perfectly. So let's look at our next problem. Our next problem, we're doing 616 divided by 7. So 7 can't go into 6, so we move over to 61. So we need to figure out 7 times what gets us close to 61 without going over. So when we go down here to our 7 times table, we're going to go over and see how close we can get without going over. Oh, we made it to 63, so we have to go back a number. So 56 is as close as we can get without going over. And 7 times 8 is 56. So we're going to put our 8 up here above the 1. And we just said that 8 times 7 is 56, so we're going to put 56 underneath the 61. So 61 minus 56 is 5. And we bring down our 6. So we're going to put our 6 right here. So now we need to figure out how many times 7 goes into 56 without going over. So we go over to our 7 times table, we go over, and oh, we found 56, because 7 times 8 is 56. So we're going to put our 8 over here above the 6. 8 times 7 is 56. When we subtract those, we'll get 0. Okay, so for our next problem, we have 490 divided by 5. So 5 doesn't go into 4, so we're going to see how many times 5 can go into 49 without going over. So we go to our 5 times table. We go over. We got to 50, that's too high, so we have to go back. So 45 is as close to 49 as we can get without going over. And 5 times 9 is 45. So we go back over here, and we put our 9 above the 9. And 9 times 5 is 45. (49) minus 45 gives us 4. And we bring down our 0. So now we have to figure out how many times 5 goes into 40. So we go back to our multiplication chart, to our 5 times table, and we go up, and 5 does go into 40. 5 times 8 is 40. So we're going to put 8 up here beside our 9, and 8 times 5 is 40. So we're going to put 40 under here, and subtract. 40 minus 40 is 0. So our answer is a 98. Okay, our next one, we're going to see how many times 9 goes into 108. So 9 can't go into 1, so we move over and we figure out how many times 9 can go into 10. So when we use our multiplication chart, we go to our 9 times table, and 18 is too much, so we have to go back to 9, and 9 times 1 is 9. So we go up here, and on top of the 10 we're going to write a 1. 1 times 9 is 9. And we're going to subtract. So we have 10 minus 9 gives us 1 left over. And then we bring down our 8. So now we need to figure out how many times 9 goes into 18 without going over. So we go back to our 9 times table, and oh, right here, there's 18, because the 9 times 2 is 18. So we're going to put a 2 beside our 1. 2 times 9 is 18. We subtract. That gives us a remainder of 0. So our answer to 108 divided by 9 is 12. Okay, our next one, we have 231 divided by 3. So 3 can't go into 2, so we have to move over to 23. Figure out how many times 3 can go into 23 without going over. So we go to our 3 times table, we go up. Oh, there's 24, that's too much, so we have to go back to the 21. 3 times 7 is 21. So we're going to put our 7 up here. 7 times 3 is 21. So we're going to put down 21. Okay, and we're going to subtract 21 from 23, which leaves us with 2. And then we bring down our 1. Now we need to see how many times 3 goes into 21 without going over. And we just said that that was 7. So we'll put the 7 above the 1. 7 times 3 is 21. We subtract again, and that gives us 0. Okay, our next problem, we have 435 divided by 5. 5 can't go into 4, so we need to see how many times 5 will go into 43 without going over. So we come down here to our 5 times table, and we see how close to 43 we can get without going over. So if here's 45, we'll have to go back to 40. So 5 times 8 is 40. So we need to put our 8 above the 3. 8 times 5 is 40. We're going to subtract. So we have 43 minus 40 gives us 3. We're going to bring down the 5. Good job, Kashawn. Now we need to see how many times 5 goes into 35 without going over. So we go back to our multiplication chart. We go through our 5 times table. Oh, and here's 35. So we go up and we see that 5 times 7 is 35. So we're going to come back over here and put our 7 above the 5. 7 times 5 is 35. So now we're going to subtract. 35 minus 35 is 0. So our answer to 435 divided by 5 is 87. Now we have 165 divided by 5. 5 doesn't go into 1, so we're going to move over to the 6. And see how many times 5 goes into 16 without going over. So we go back up to our 5 times table. And we see that 15 is as close to 16 as we can get without going over. And 5 times 3 gives us 15. So we're going to put our 3 up here. 3 times 5 we said is 15. So now we have to subtract. 16 minus 15 is 1. And then we break down our 5. So we need to see how many times 5 goes into 15 without going over. We just did that right here. So we're going to put our 3 up here again. This 3 times 5 is 15. And 15 minus 15 is 0. Okay, our next one, we have 297 divided by 3. Okay, so we have to figure out how many times 3 can go into 29 without going over. So we go to our 3 times table, and we go up. 30 is too much, so we have to go back to 27. 3 times 9 is 27. So we're going to put our 9 up here. 3 times 9 is 27, so we're going to put 27 down here. (29 minus 27 is 2. We bring down the 7. And then we already saw how 3 goes into 27 9 times, so we're going to put another 9 up here. 3 times 9 is 27. 20 minus 27 is 0. Alright, let's go back over here. Yes, so Sean, I can tell my kids you said hi. I don't know if you can hear Olivia screaming right now, but Caitlin's not here. But I will be sure to pass that along. Okay, now we're going to figure out how many times 4 goes into 352. So 4 can't go into 3, so we move over. So we have to figure out how many times 4 goes into 35. Okay, so we go to our 4 times table, and we see how close to 35 we can get without going over to 35. It is 35. So that is 32. And we go up to see 4 times 8 is 32. So we're going to put our 8 up here. 8 times 4 is 32. 35 minus 32 is 3. We're going to bring down our 2. Now we have to figure out how many times 4 goes into 32. And we just said that was 8 times. We put the 8 up there. And we're going to subtract these. And our answer is going to be 88. Okay, our next one we have 760 divided by 8. So we need to figure out how many times 8 goes into 76. So we go down here to our 8 times table. We go over, up 72 is the most we can get. So we go up and we see that 8 times 9 is 72. So we put our 9 up here. 9 times 8 we said was 72. So we're going to subtract. 76 minus 72 is 4. And then we bring down our 0. Now we have to figure out how many times 8 goes into 40. So we go back to our multiplication chart, go to our 8 times table, we go over, and here's 40. We see that 8 times 5 is 40. So we're going to come up here and put our 5. 5 times 8 we said was 40. And our answer is 95. We're just going to stop and wait a second. I want to know why Kashawn's favorite game is God of War. That is a very interesting answer. So how does one kill a monster made of rocks? I need to know. Okay, we're going to do one more while I wait on Kashawn's answer. So here we need to figure out how many times 4 goes into 252. So 4 doesn't go into 2, so we move over to 25. So we know you to go to our 4 times table, see how close we can get to 25 without going over, and that is 24. Go up, 4 times 6 is 24. So we go over here, we're going to put our 6 above the 5. 6 times 4 we said was 24. So now we have 25 minus 24, which is 1. We're going to bring down our 2. Now we need to figure out how many times 4 goes into 12 without going over. So we go back to our 4 times table. We go up, we find 12. We see that 4 times 3 is 12. So we're going to put our 3 up here above the 2. 3 times 4 is 12. We have 12 minus 12, which is 0. So our answer to 252 divided by 4 is 63. Alright, I'm going to stop here for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me, reach out to me on Google Hangouts. I'm always available. And if I don't hear from you, I hope you have a great rest of your week. And I will see you all next week. That is super awesome.